Hi guys, my name is Miss Dixon and I am one of the 4 chemistry teachers that you're going to be working with this year. Just like everybody else has said, I'm super excited to have you in class. Whether I get to see you here in school or you are completely virtual, I can't wait to get to know you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what participation in chemistry looks like. So you've already heard how the Google Classroom is going to work. You've heard how each of our lessons are going to be formatted, and you've already heard a little bit about grading and what those expectations are. So probably at this point you're wondering, well, what does my day-to-day look like? How often is this going to happen? What's the time commitment going to be like? So that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about. First thing that you need to know, we are going to be posting 4 lessons each week. Each lesson will range in the 30-ish minutes area. Some might be a little shorter, 20, 25. Some might be a little bit longer, 35, 40. It's probably pushing it, but we might have a couple. It depends on how much instruction there is, how much you choose to practice, and how long things take you. You're going to find with chemistry that some things you pick up on right away. You feel really good about them and they only take a few minutes. Other things might be more of a struggle for you. They might take a little bit longer, and that's just how chemistry works. That's totally fine. So there is a little bit of flexibility in that time, but we're going to shoot for about 30 minutes for each lesson. And again, we'll have 4 lessons per week. So on the calendar, we will show those lessons on Monday through Thursday, with Friday as kind of a flex day. So the nice thing about it is within that week, there's some flexibility. If you've got a ton of work coming out on Monday that is due on Tuesday and you just can't get to chemistry, that's okay. You can take that Monday work, you can roll it over to Tuesday, you can push Tuesdays to Wednesday, or you can double up on a day. Maybe you want to do 2, 3, or all 4 of your lessons on Tuesday. We're totally fine with that as long as you aren't letting the material get away from you. So what that means is try to get the work done within that week. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are when those lessons are posted. If you can't get them done in that Monday through Thursday time frame, use the Friday, use the weekend, but by the start of the next week, have last week's work done. Okay. The other thing to keep in mind is that lessons are sequential. So if you miss Monday's lesson, don't go to Tuesday's lesson, do Monday's lesson first. Okay, even if you have to do it on Tuesday or Wednesday, you have to do Monday's lesson before Tuesday's lesson. Lessons will build upon each other. So on Monday, we might introduce something. Tuesday might be more practice with it. Wednesday, we might apply it or do it in a lab or ask you to already know how to do it and use it to do something else. So if you skip that first lesson and go right to the second lesson, you're going to be missing information. So make sure you are doing the lessons in the sequence that they are posted. Okay. Our firm deadline is 2 weeks. So we have a 2-week policy in place across the entire chemistry department. What that means is if a lesson is more than 2 weeks old, we are not going to continually check it for people to submit it. So you heard about the understanding checks that are going to be at the end of the lesson series. We will check those understanding checks regularly within a 2-week period. We'll give feedback on them. We'll work with you. We'll talk about them at a Google Meet or in person, whatever we need to do. Outside of that 2-week period, you can still complete it, but you have to let us know first. So we get it. Things come up. You know, maybe there's an emergency at home and you've got to take a step away from school for a couple of weeks. Somebody gets sick or something happens. Like, that's just the world we live in. We get it. So we are willing to be flexible with you on that. But outside of that 2-week period, you have to let us know. So send Mr. Hall an email or Ms. Eimeyer an email and say, hey, I'm sorry, I have not done work for the last 3 weeks. Here's my reason. I know it's not ideal, but like it is where I'm at. I'm going to start doing this work. Can you please go back and check this understanding check? Or can you help me with this work? If you communicate with us, we are more than happy to adjust that schedule for you and make sure that you're getting that work in. If you don't communicate with us and you just complete work that's 4 weeks old, we're not going to see it. It's just the way Google is set up. We don't get a notification every time somebody submits an understanding check. What that means then is we're not knowing that you are completing those old understanding checks. That's where the communication becomes really important. The other thing to keep in mind is if you are a habitual person, every 2 weeks you're sending us an email, hey, sorry, I really fell behind. I'm going to do all of this work right now. We are not going to, that's not going to be a thing, okay? We get it. Things happen every once in a while. We need to be a little bit flexible. But if it is a consistent thing, we're probably going to start talking to parents, start talking to guidance counselors. How can we get you back on schedule to be as successful as possible? Okay, so that 2-week policy is there to help you, to make sure that you are staying up on the work, you're not letting it pile up. And it's there to help us make sure we know what things we need to be grading and what things we need to be looking at, okay? The last thing that I have for you is, what does it look like to participate in person? Or if I'm totally virtual, is there still a way for me to get in contact with my teachers? Yes, absolutely, okay? So the way we've set up our support system, everybody gets the same lesson on the same day across all of the chemistry classes, okay? If you are coming in for the blended learning model, if you are a junior, you will either see me or Mr. Hall every time you are in the building. We will be able to answer questions. We will be able to work with you through the chemistry. If you're stuck on something, we can put it up on the whiteboard. Probably if you have a question, somebody else has the same question. If you are a senior, Mrs. Addie Meyer is in the senior homerooms, so she will be floating around. And then I believe it is Mr. Teachin and Mr. Cosme. So Mr. Teachin and Mr. Cosme are not chemistry teachers. They'll do their best. They will help you out as best as they can. If they have a question that, they're rusty on their chemistry, they aren't quite sure what to do with, they'll come to one of us and we'll make sure that we get you the answer that you need. Same thing with the sophomores. If you are in a sophomore homeroom, I believe that is Mr. Ducat, Mrs. Ackley, and Miss Mancheski. Okay, again, not chemistry teachers. They all have taken chemistry. They all know chemistry. Odds are they will be able to answer most of your chemistry questions. If they are struggling with something, if there's a question that they're not sure on, they're going to come to one of us. They'll talk with us. All of the science teachers have some flexibility in our mornings, so we'll be able to get together and make sure that you are getting the support that you need. The other thing is that you can always access one of your chemistry teachers on Google Meet. Okay, so there are 4 Google Meets that will take place each day, so you can find a time that works into your schedule. There'll be a meeting right away in the morning at 8 o'clock. You can log on, ask a quick question, get some help on something, and then be done. If you're still sleeping at 8, if you're in the morning cohort that comes in at 8 and you're not able to log on to that one, there's another one at 10, another one at noon, and another one at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're trying to hit each of those different time frames. One of the chemistry teachers will take each one, okay? You don't have to stay for the entire half an hour. You can show up during that half an hour time frame, ask your question, and leave. You can show up, ask your question, and then listen to other questions people have. It's a flexible time for whatever you need it to be, okay? In the syllabus, there are some guidelines as far as what Google Meets look like. Obviously, it's still a school function, so we want to make sure that the things that are behind you are school appropriate, the way you're dressed is school appropriate. You are all mature, it goes without saying, use good judgment. So those things are all in the syllabus. You should be able to read through those, show your parents, make sure they've seen the syllabus as well. If you have any questions about anything that we've gone over during this presentation, all of our contact information is on the bottom of the syllabus. You can email, text, call any of the 4 of us to get your questions answered. Particularly those contact information section, that's going to be important if you are a sophomore or a senior that might not have a chemistry teacher as part of your house. Use that contact information. Make sure you are getting in contact with us so that we can help you in whatever way you need, okay? Nice to meet you all. Hopefully we get to meet in person. I'm really excited for this year. I can't wait to see all of the awesome chemistry things you guys do. For those of you that are in my house, see you soon. For those of you that are not, I'm sure I'll see you in the hallway or around the building or on a Google Meet. See you later.